Good morning, class 10 children. Welcome back in this online class. Uh, Actually, today is not supposed to be your English class routine for the online class. Still, I'm trying to complete yesterday's poem that we had started with. The poem was The Patriot, written by the poet, the Victorian poet Robert Browning. So you might have viewed yesterday's video on this poem, but you might have also seen the last portion of the poem being explained. There were some hindrances because there was a bit problem regarding the vendor playing the music at the background, so that might have a little bit disturb for you to understand the end of the yesterday's teaching. So here I am back with the same poem to complete the remaining portion of it. The last two stanzas of the poem are left with us. So I would like to continue the complete part of the poem and then give you the exercises on the said poem. Thereafter, this will bring an end to our poetry section in our textbook Treasure Trove. So, with the hope of you all being fine at home and carrying on with your normal routine, let me now carry on with the remaining portion of the poem, The Patriot by Robert Browning. So, let's carry on. So the last poem in our syllabus, The Patriot, written by the great Victorian poet Robert Browning, um, was explaining us about the life of a man is full of uncertainties. There is no certainty in a man's life. You are happy today, you don't know what will happen to you next. That is what is being explained in the poem. So let me just have a recap of what we had discussed yesterday. The poet has created a narrator, and the narrator is narrating us the incident or the incidents that took place in his life. Uh, the narrator told us here that he is back to his home country being victorious. And what victorious did he bring to his country is not said in the poem. However, we have to assume that it might have been the war where he might have been successful in this war and is back home. And when he is back to his country, he is welcomed almost like a hero, and he is welcomed with the flowers strewn on the way, the flowers like roses and myrtle, and you saw how the people were packed to uh, get a glimpse of this hero coming back home. Even the house roofs were completely crowded, and you see, had the house been given life, it would have been very difficult for it to breathe. And we saw the house as if swaying sideways because there had been a lot of people climbed on the rooftop to get a glimpse of this hero who has come back home. And you saw the church towers being decorated with flags to welcome this hero back home. And it was exactly a year ago. uh, the narrator tells us how his welcome was. And you saw how the church bells were ringing. There was echo produced on the uh, sound produced by the church bells. And you saw the yelling of the crowd. You saw the shouting of the people. The shouting of the people almost made the walls shook. um, that was the reaction of the people when they saw their hero-like man coming back home. And the narrator said that if he had told his men, his common folk, that only shouting is not enough. Uh, it is only disgusting for me. Do something else. And had the narrator told this crowd to go to the sky and bring the sun to him, the people would have done so. That means they would have done anything for him, right? Instead, okay, the common people would have answered, after bringing the sun from the sky, what else they need to do more to please this hero-like man in the place where he has come. So you saw, this was the incident a year ago, and you see what did the narrator further tell in the third stanza. He says, "Alas, right? It was he who has jumped to do anything impossible for these people, and these people were regarded friends to him, and he says that nobody else could have accomplished what the hero-like man had done for them. He had left the things undone." Right, that means, okay, he has turned all the stones up to do anything for his people. And look at the reward, look at the harvest he got in return. He says, this was the very day, right? A year has rolled by, and the people have forgotten what he had done for them, right? Now everything has changed. Everything has changed. Now from the fourth stanza, let us again carry on to complete our poem. So see, there is nobody on the housetops now. Now the poet, the narrator tells, everything has changed now. Now you see, the very hero-like man is on the walk, and there is no one seen on the rooftop to get a glimpse of the man. Right? A year ago, the very man, when he walked, there were a crowd of people. They had climbed the rooftop, right? And today, you see, there is no one. Just a palsied few at the window sit. Just a palsied. Palsied means a person who is suffering from paralysis. He's crippled, he's handicapped, he's not able to walk. So just a few people had sat near the window, and they were just peeping out. So see, this is the scene that took place a year later, right? A year ago, there were a crowd of people on the rooftop, and a year later, you see no people there on the rooftop to see him. Only a few people were just seated near the window to take the fresh air. They were only peeping out at the road. For the best of the sight is all allow at the Sambals gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot, I trow. For the best of the sight, that means these people had gone to take a better sight. Where? The gate of the gallows, which is known as the Sambals gate. Here the Sambals gate is the gate of gallows. Gallows, as I said yesterday also, that it is a wooden framework on which a convict, a criminal, is hanged till death. Right? After the case has been seen, and then the law court has convicted him as guilty, right? So he is supposed to be hanged till death. So the person who is convicted here is brought to this gallows and given the death sentence, like hanging till death. So the people, to get the better glimpse, better sight, better look, they had come where? At the gate of the gallows, which is known as the Sambals gate here, right? To get a better sight, right? Or better yet, by the very scaffold foot. Scaffold is a raised wooden platform which is used for execution, where a criminal or a convict is brought to this platform, and then he is hanged till death. So see, or to get a better sight, to have a close look at this convict, how he is hanged, the people have gathered, some people have gathered at the scaffold, at the platform, raised platform, wooden made platform, from where they can see this execution, right? As I trow means I think, here the narrator says. So finding no people at their house tops or on the roads, here the narrator thought himself that he perceived that the people have gone to the gallows gate, Sambals gate, or even to get a closer view of the execution. They might have just gone near to that scaffold. That is what the narrator says. So look at the change. 1 year ago, what was his reputation? what was his name and fame, and a year later you see, right, all the people are against him now, and he's brought to the law court, he's tried, and thereafter uh, he's uh, um, he's here taken guilty and then sentenced for hanging till death. So see, and thereafter move on to the next stanza fifth. I go in the rain, and more than needs, a rope cuts both my wrists behind, and I think by the feel my forehead bleeds. For they fling, whoever has a mind, stones at me for my years' misdeeds. Now you see, right? The patriot walks on the road, and it is a rainy day. It is raining. He is walking in the rain, and there is no one to come with an umbrella, as the people have come with the flowers like roses and myrtle strewn on the way. But today you see the very man is walking, but in the rain, and there is no one who has come here to, um, okay, give him the shade using the umbrella. You see, the patriot walks in the rain towards the gallows where he is being taken to. He is being taken to the gallows where he is going to be executed, hanged till death. And more than needs, and more than that, you see what happened. A rope cuts both my wrists behind. His hands are tightened behind him. Right? Both the hands are tightened with the rope, and the rope has been tightened so tightly that there are cuts on his wrist from where it is bleeding. So you see, right, how the people reacted after a year now. So you see, right, the patriot walks in the rain towards the gallows, towards where he is going to be executed, right? More than that needs, you see, a rope cuts both my wrists behind. So his hands are tightened behind and by the rope, and with this rope there are deep cuts. They are tightened so tightly that there are cuts in his wrists from where it is bleeding. So see, and I think by the feel my forehead bleeds, and the narrator even thinks, since his hands are tightened behind, so he cannot use his hands freely to touch on his body or anything, right? So, and I think by the feel my forehead bleeds, and he's feeling, right, there is a feeling in the narrator that his forehead is bleeding, right? There is blood oozing out from his head, from his forehead even. For they fling means throw, the people have thrown. Whoever has a mind, whoever has seen him, whoever the people has seen he being taken to the gallows, stones at me for my years' misdeeds. So what the people have thrown at him, they have thrown stones at him, right? And the stones hit his head, his forehead, from where it is bleeding. This is what is the sense of the narrator, what is happening to him today, right? After a year, he is brought as a convict and is being taken to the place of execution, to the gallows, and his hands are tightened behind, where the ropes are tightened so tightly that there are the bleedings, and you see, even the narrator could feel on his forehead that it is bleeding, because the people have thrown stones at him, whoever had in their mind to see this man, right? And see, stones at me for my years' misdeeds, right? Now, so they showed their anger. The people showed their anger at this man a year later. A year ago, he was a hero. The same person was a hero. And today, you see, he is a villain. He is taken a villain. They showed their anger, throwing the stones at him, right? And the person is bleeding to death. And this is how the narrator is taken to the gallows, where he is executed. He is hanged till death, right? Now, the last stanza, stanza 6th, tells us about his soul. After he died, the soul departed from his body, and what happened to his soul now? Now let us see. Thus I entered the city, right? So see, I entered the city of heaven, right, where the gods live, and thus I go in humiliation as a convict. Thus I go in humiliation as a convict. When I was a year ago a hero to the people, I did what not for the people, right? And the people also listened to him. They could do anything possible for this man, right? But exactly a year later, you see, he's a villain. He's turned villain, right? And he's even given a death sentence, right? He's hanged till death. And then when he died, his soul entered heaven. where he entered in humiliation as a convict, right? In triumph, but is in success, in victory. Triumph means victory, success. People have dropped down dead, so people have killed him, right? Right today. A year ago, the people themselves used to drop down dead for this man, right? There used to be a throng of people, a crowd of people where people um, um, fell down dead, right? Yes, now where they were stampeded to have a look at this man. But you see, today the man died, right? The very person who the people used to adore him, right? Adulate him, and today he is no more. He is he is killed in the hands of these people, the very people who had been so dear to him. And today you see, right? People have dropped down dead a year ago. These very people who dropped down dead a year ago, today they killed him, right? His soul now departed from his body, his dead body, and then entered into heaven's door, right? Let us now in humiliation as a convict, paid by the world, and he is paid by the world, right? What the world did to him, what dost thou owe me, right? And today, now he is there at the at the um, at the house of lords, right? And then God said, God might question me. Now instead, it is God shall repay. Now I have come to the door of the God. Now God is there to help me out. God is there to look after me. I am safer, so I am fine here. So when the people haven't known him, when the people haven't understood him, now it is the God, right? The God is there to help him, because the latter has not committed any wrongs for which he was um, hanged till death, right? So this is what normally happens to the people. People are not permanent. People are very temporary. Their mind is very, very imaginative. What the people say, what the people feel, so it gets spread. And you see, the very hero turned villain, right? And he is even executed for no wrong of his. He's given death sentence for committing no moral wrongs, right? Now it is only God who knows what he has done as a person when he was alive. Now it is God who is welcoming him at the God's place, the God's door, the heaven's door, right? So this is what happened in the poem, right? So nothing is permanent in this world, as people say, right? The heroic man meets a tragic end, right? Because of the imaginative nature of the common people, right? It's very difficult to make common people understand, right? Understand, it's very tough to understand the common people, and that is how the common people would definitely would react when they don't understand. And the very genuine man, a very right person, is killed for no wrongs, right? Understand, a man who has helped them, who brought victory for the country and helped them, uh, he is taken as a villain and thereafter executed also, right? So the people fail to understand such people, right? That's enough. So this happens with the rise and fall of the many leaders across the globe, right? The leaders are killed for no wrong, because it is the mind of the people, the imagination of the people, what not do they think, right? And if anybody volunteers that this man is wrong, and you see there are oppositions coming up, and such leads to the death of an innocent man. So this is what is told in the poem, The Patriot, by the poet, uh, the king of the dramatic monologue, poet um, Robert Browning. I hope you understood the poem. It is a beautiful poem, and we must regard, it tells us that we must regard a man to whom we have been regarding, because such a man has been doing a lot for us, right? And it is we people we don't understand, right? To know the exact quality of a person, and the common people fail. And when the common people fail, this normally is the action and reaction of the crowd. so has happened in the poem The Patriot. So with this we have brought an end of our poetry section. All the poems, the leftover poems uh, in the textbook treasure trove we have completed. So I'll be passing the notes to you. You'll be on with the notes, and also the homeworks time to time you'll get, so that also you complete. So with this we have happily brought an end of our poetry section. And to tell you, these taught poems are all taught now, so they will not be repeated in the class when the school reopens. Right? So keep revising, keep doing. Thank you very much.